99.9% adults think that children should be a certain way, they shouldn't have an opinion, that they should obey them whatever they say, and that's not true because we're growing into adults, our own person, and we're going to get older one of these days, and we're going to need to take care of them, and we're going to be running this country, and we need our own opinions, and we need to say what we need to say, or otherwise we're not going to make it in this world. We're not going to make it.
We are exploring 3 stories of youth activism. The first contains stories of how a community comes together to better itself through a community youth center. The second tells of how through a 6-week media program youth gain a sense of self and community and express it through media. The last shows a powerful struggle between community and state as the youth of this community stand up for what they believe. These stories show the power of youth.
The Cowan Community Center is where I live at, and they've always had a program there called the Cowan Community Youth Group, and it's been there for years before I was. It helped that community center get started, and a lot of the playground, the basketball court was a lot of involved with those kids.
These kids look up to you so much, and they're just like, I want to be like her when I grow up, or I want to do something like her, and then you realize that you're being a role model for all these kids, and you're affecting their life, and you're doing it in a positive way. It's a great feeling.
I don't think you can describe the kind of feeling that you get when you realize that you're making a difference in some little kid's life. And it's really just good to see them smile and to know that they're learning stuff.
I could see a change in them, and they would start cheering up or be brighter, and I like that. Well, working with programs like this has been the best thing I've ever done. I mean, I was so quiet, and I never did anything, but when you get in there and you find out that you do have a voice, and it is important, and they ask your input, and they ask you what you think you can do or what can be done or how they should do it, it makes you feel so important. It makes you want to speak out. It makes you want to learn. It makes you want to see a difference. And once you've seen that difference, it makes you want to do it again and again, and you just get so used to it, and it's just like the greatest feeling in the world.
There are a lot of kids. I used to teach English in high school, and I don't know what the percentage was. All kinds of kids are closet poets, and they write their poetry, and they're filled with a desire to express what they think and what they feel, but it never goes any farther than their diary, or they may share it with a favorite teacher or a close friend, but that's where the poetry stops. Programs like AMI and other programs that are out there allow those people who would be closet poets to have a forum, to publish their work, to talk about their work, to express what they think to an audience of folk who really want to see what you think and who really want to read those poems. But too often, it's too difficult to share what you think and what you feel with somebody else because it's uncomfortable sometimes. But AMI gives you a place with other young people to say what you want to say, to let people hear it, to get feedback, to be reassured that what you're saying other people may not agree with, but they want to hear it. It's a safe place to talk and to communicate.
AMI taught me how to work within a group. Listen to each other's problems, try to come up with a constructive way or a strategic way to solve the problem, try to keep a compromise between everybody. It showed me that, I missed out for a long time, rather going off to myself than being in a group because, sometimes you miss out on wonderful opportunities, and this was one of the opportunities to show me that I was wrong. I can work well in groups, and you can make friends for life.
When you bring a group of people that doesn't fit in their home school together, then they find they do have a home and they feel socially safe, and they can express themselves and they're not criticized or ostracized by their peers because their peers probably think, well, here's someone who thinks exactly the way I do. And I think it takes a commonality of thought and goal to create a difference.
I got a sense of power because I knew that right then and there I could make a difference.
I really like working with young people. I think working with young people is one of the most rewarding things that anybody could ever do for a vocation or for their passion. And passion is probably the thing that I enjoy most about working with young people.
I love it. I love working with kids. I think because the potential is so great.
As teenagers, a lot of your preconceived notions aren't really strongly grained into your mind yet, and I think you still can change your thoughts, and I think that's what a lot of people like about dealing with kids, teenagers, young adults.
Because they're unpredictable and because they've got the desire to do something. It may not always be right, but they want to get something done, and they usually have good intentions, no matter what it is. But they want to get something. They want to get something done, and they want to go somewhere.
Share what you know, share what you've learned, and then let them do with it as they want. You can't dictate to them how they use that information. You know, yeah, you have ideas, and that's fine, and that's dandy. But they do too. So I think very often we get in our heads what we want to happen, and then, you know, we give them information and we expect them to do what we want with it. No. You could give them the information, but where they go with it is their own business.
And I think that if someone else has confidence within you, soon you too will start nurturing your own self-confidence. And you have to be confident in what you're doing, and you have to believe in it before you can actually make a difference.
Young people have the ability to change the world.
What's happening with the mining is they're mining a number 4 coal seam, which is about 105 foot under our houses, and that's where our water seam is, our main water seam, and that's all the water we have left, because they have mined all the other ones. And when they mine this seam and our water is gone, we're going to have no more source of water. We went to Frankfurt and we had our signs and our little skits and speeches and chants all ready to go. And we got there, and as soon as we got there, we walked into the parking lot holding our signs up in lines.
We asked for the head man to come outside and speak to us about it, and he asked for us to come inside, so we all agreed to go inside to his office, and we sit there, and all he kept doing was repeating himself, which made all of us kids mad.
It made me have more of an opinion and more of a choice of what goes on in my community.
It would have been majorly different if one of us had walked in compared to the 34 of us that went. Because when 34 kids walk in and they're mad and there's 4 adults up front, the kids are going to do more talking because we wouldn't shut up. We didn't give him the floor to speak. We kept talking. That way he knew what we wanted and how we wanted it done, because we're not dumb. We know there's other ways to get water up there and other things they can do besides mining the last well.
So we're trying to get it stopped so our water and our homes, our land won't be destroyed any worse than it already is.
Wanna wake up and know where I'm going. Say I'm ready, say I'm ready. Wanna go where the rivers are overflowing. I'll be ready, I'll be It's love flowing freely. I'm ready, I'm ready. If the waters can redeem me, I'm ready.
Grigsby brought a bottle of tap water, and when we first got in there, she opened the water and asked him to smell the water, just smell it, and the lawyers and the secretary declined. They said, no, thank you. Okay, and then like an hour and a half later, she got 4 glasses and she poured each one of them a drink of water into that. And they said no, because they didn't know where the water came from. So her and Danielle Burke got a cup of water and poured it themselves and told them that if they'll drink, they'll drink. Then if they will drink, that she and Danielle will drink.
They still wouldn't do it. They wouldn't even smell of the water, which caused us to get in a really huge uproar because they didn't want to even acknowledge that we were trying to show them what was going on.
I thought it was crafty and conniving.
Anything we have to do, we have to prove, and we have to comply with the regulations when we do that.
We're sitting here today because we want something done, and you all get to sit behind these desks and act like everything's okay because you're not out there where we're at. You're not having to bath in this and drink this. So you all have absolutely no care, and you're supposed to be protecting us.
Would you drink that water?
None of you 4 are going to take a sip of that water.
I honestly don't know where this water comes from.
It comes out of a sink.
And that's fine. That's fine.
Well, then why are you so afraid to taste of it? Because you have good water, you get to sit and do what you want, and you're not worried about us. But that's your job, and if you can't help us, then you don't need to be sitting in that seat.
Can't you see what's going on here is wrong? It's unmoral. I mean, why do you people you won't do nothing about it? Our whole purpose here today is to get this pulled. I mean, if you go through with this, it's going to also make everybody have to leave. It's going to destroy their homes, and therefore, all schools are going to have to be cut. They're going to have to be shut down because all the students will have to leave. Can't you see what's going on?
We have that day to remember that we were all one person.
When you look at movements across the country, there are almost always some young folk who are there, and they're, if not leading the way, they're inspiring other people to move on.
If you don't stand up for the things that you believe in, nobody's going to do it for you. You need to make that voice yourself. Just be confident, you know what you're going to talk about. Have a firm ground when you stand there.
If there is a person who thinks, which I mean young or old, that their opinion's not going to change anything, it does tremendously.
Listen to yourself before you listen to others. Make sure before you make a choice, make sure it's a good choice. And understand and identify with the consequences that is going to take place.
Youth activism is a very big part of our lives as young people. We come from a place where if youth don't stand up for their communities and a better way of life, nothing will change.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We're leaders of 2000, we shall not be moved. We're leaders of 2000, we shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We're speaking for our rights, we shall not be moved. We're speaking for our rights, we shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We're fighting for our future, we shall not be moved. We're fighting for our future. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved.